do you feel like you can still bring a package that can win an Arnold Classic or contend and then maybe push at the Olympia?
I think for sure to win the Arnold Classic, the possibility is there, still there. To win the Olympia,
What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we're back with another one-on-one interview. And today I'm joined by the one and only, the conqueror, William Bonac. William, welcome back to Desktop Bodybuilding and a one-on-one interview.
thank you guys. Hey, what's up?
Man, it's awesome to have you back on. And I've recently just been watching your content on your YouTube channel, actually. On what's the name of your podcast on there?
Jiname podcast.
What does that mean?
Accept only for God. So accept God.
Oh, cool.
So yeah.
And you've had two awesome guests, man, to start off. Obviously, you had Roelly Winkler the other week, which, created a bit of news because he spoke about, obviously, sort of why he was been forced at least temporarily retire. And you sort of, man, it was cool to see because you really look out for him as a good friend. And some people don't know you guys are literally like best friends. So,
Yeah, we know each other from way back, like way back, that time that I was an amateur, and he was even, I think he was amateur and he just turned pro.
yeah.
So it's yeah.
So you had him, and then you had Andrew Jack on the last episode as well. And man, they were great interviews. And obviously, I know when you start a podcast, it's it takes a little bit of time to get that momentum and start getting the big views. But you've had two great interviews, so I encourage everyone to go and check out your podcast.
Thank you. To be honest with you, it was actually the idea of Leo. Leo
Oh, really?
longevity. Yeah, we started doing this, so we had like two. So I think around that period we had Andrew. He passed away. So we had the first one, Rudy, and he was actually the person who was, with Rudy and with Andrew, who put up those, research about them, and what to ask, so he was the guy behind it, so I got to give him props for that.
Man, and obviously you mentioned the passing of Leo as well, and it's there's obviously speculation and everything going on online and stuff, and we don't get into that. But Leo was a guy that behind the scenes, while he had sort of external stuff happening and going on, he was actually very kind to me and helped me out and gave advice, health advice and stuff like that for people in my life at the time. And his messages were nothing but positive, and my interaction with him was nothing but positive. And it seemed like he really actually helped you out in some ways, because I sort of did some maths and some speculation in terms of who was maybe helping you out, maybe behind the scenes at some stage or whatever. And was that Leo?
Yeah, that was Leo was helping me out, and then he connected with me. He was helping me out to my whole Arnold prep in 2022, and then the last 5 weeks, because it's not his profession, you understand? So the last 5 weeks we were like, listen, to be sure, let's get a coach, who has knowledge about this, and he contacted Chet, and he introduced me to Chet, and that's how I started working with Chet for the last 5 weeks of the Arnold prep 2022, and since then. Yeah.
Yeah, and Leo was obviously, I always saw you, you always supported his content. He always supported yours. Was your interactions with him all positive? And
yes, definitely. Yeah, always. But we talk more on the WhatsApp, and
yeah,
always positive, and even in his darkest moment, we still had contact with each other. He's been he changed my view of perspective, through a lot of things, and a lot of things that I didn't know, and I think even a lot of coaches didn't know, and yeah, he was really, really smart. He came sometimes with stuff. I had to Google it, you understand, and see what it was, and then I see, oh, this is this stuff, man. So the terms that he even used for them, those yeah, he was a smart guy, intelligent as well, and I learned a lot
yeah,
from him. And I think a lot of people do, and a lot of people send me even messages, that he helped them a lot, and he always replied to you, no matter who you are, if you're a professional or amateur or, it doesn't matter, thick or thin, black or white, if you like respectful, he will always help you. Yeah,
yeah,
and go
absolutely.
even beyond.
And that's what he did for me as well, man. There was something going on in my life, and he offered his advice and
Yeah,
reached out. And then if he didn't get back to a message, he would send back a message saying, I'm so incredibly sorry, my brother. You
yeah,
know, like,
yeah,
how
yeah,
are
yeah,
you?
yeah.
I hope all is well. And he
Or
always, there's genuine care, you know?
yeah, or when he send a message, he'd be like, William, I'm so sorry, it's too long. Just click double, to speed it up. I'm like, no, bro, I will repeat this like 10, 20 times, so don't worry.
Yeah, for sure. But I suppose like you're a guy that seems, I've heard previous interviews of you, we've interviewed before. You seem like a guy that's been hardened from your past as well. So I suppose how did this affect you in terms of losing Leo? As when you've been through a lot of stuff in your life, I guess you can handle those things better. But how did it affect you?
It hit me very hard. I couldn't even believe it. I was working out at the gym late at night, and then I got a message, and when I'm training, I don't watch my phone, but this time I was listening to music, Spotify, so I saw the message coming and I saw something with Leo passed away, and I was, nah, this is not true. And I had like
Mm,
maybe 20 minutes to go. And even during my training, I felt like I didn't feel good, and I even stopped like after 5 minutes. I just stopped the training and I just fell apart, man. So I checked it for the double checked everything, and it really hit me. I
yeah,
didn't expect it. So young guy, and we were just talking maybe a day before, 2 days before, so the weekend before. So I think on the Friday we were even talking, and it happened in the weekend somewhere. So or maybe right after that we talked, it happened, because the weekend we didn't hear from him, and normally after one day, he replied. Understand? So yeah, so it fucked up my honor prep as well, but it also gave me more motivation, like to want to go all for it. Um, but you understand, like secretly, it still messed up your mind. You understand? I was constantly thinking about it. Like man, every time I get someone that's genuine, who's really care, who really want to help you out, understand? Not asking you for any money, understand? Well, he
mm,
really could use it, um, that's genuine, and then losing these kind of person, it hurts, yeah, similar feeling I had with Shaw Roden, yeah, uh,
mm.
and Cedric as well, because a lot of people don't know I was tight with Cedric, but
Really?
yeah, we were cool with each other, yeah,
Yeah.
and
It's
and
it's
those
crazy
things,
how many we've lost,
yeah,
in such a short period, and people that we're close with, it's like, and
yeah,
since Cedric's passing, I've spoke to his widowed wife and stuff like that, and she's actually from Sydney, Australia, and
mm,
it's we look at it in a bodybuilding sense, but all of these people that we've lost, they all have families and friends outside of
yeah,
this industry, so it's been
mm,
really shocking, I suppose, how many people
yeah,
we've lost and how many greats we've lost.
mm. And it's just even with Dallas MacGyver that time it was like a few weeks before the Olympia. It fucked me up, like I wasn't even close with that guy, but I even stopped my training, and during my training, I felt like, like I was crying, man, like,
Mm,
it's like one of us, and it's like, even though that we weren't that close, I still felt like, man, what is mother's gonna think about this? How is mother's gonna feel? You understand? And then you think about yourself in that situation. So, and yeah, and even when I saw his mom after that, it was so emotional. I heard her like it was my old mom. Because
yeah.
it could have been me as well. So, and that's just these stuff just make you think, different way. And Leo was the perfect guy to make a change in that scene. You understand? To make us aware of the blood test, because a lot of us, they just put their heads in the ground. They don't want to. They know it, but they don't want to, get the facts about it. You understand?
Yeah.
They don't want to hear it from a doctor. It's like, you have cancer in the family, for instance, and if you have like a disease or like sickle cell or whatsoever, if you have it in the family, it can keep coming back to one another. So if it happened to one brother or one sister, all of the brothers and sisters should go and check themselves. You
Yeah.
understand? Because they might have it as well. And once you check yourself, you can be on time, to stop those progress. You understand? So if you sit down and just wait, like, oh no, I don't want to know because I'm scared to hear the results. Better be scared to hear the results and that you can do something about it on time, than that you don't even have the time to do anything about it, because that can occur as well. So, and that was one thing that Leo was a good part of it, and I think he taught a lot of guys, a little bit of the knowledge as well. It's just research what we have to do, but we don't have the time. We don't put the time into it. You understand?
Yeah.
And he showed us like we can do this, and still have a long life after bodybuilding. Understand?
Yeah.
In a safe way. So there is a possibility to do it in a safe way, understand, and still have a long life, after bodybuilding. Because we still have a lot of people who are still alive today who, did bodybuilding even in Arnold time, before Arnold time, who are still alive today. So it's not necessary, and they took the jet as well. And then people will say like, oh, but today is a different time, blah blah blah. It's a different time, of course, I understand, but still, they were on those stuff too, and they're still here. So it says something, you understand? Some of them are gone, and some of them are still here, but nowadays it's just coming so fast, each year something happened, and that's not good, so it's good if we have someone to make the young ones who are coming aware, like, listen, you can do this, but just make sure, same thing that you would do, if you have any other disease or whatsoever, check yourself. It's like, yeah, it's like going to the dentist. You understand? You can ignore it, but eventually, you will get so much pain one day, and that you really have to go. You have no choice than to go. You understand? And then it's too late. You have to put it out there. You understand? So, yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to look at guys like we've got guys like Lee Labrada who look at him, he looks in
Yes.
perfect health and he's still got muscle, he's lean. It's like he's almost like the peak of what you want to be when I think he's 60 years old or something like
Lee
that.
Haney
So
as well.
Lee Haney,
as well.
yeah, he's incredible, and even guys like Dave Palumbo, who was a mass monster,
Yes.
who's been able to downsize and accept being smaller, because some guys can't seem to accept being smaller post career.
I think the oldest one right now is, I think, Robbie Robinson. You
Yeah,
still have him as well.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Perfect example.
so,
He's in
yeah,
great shape as well.
yeah,
So, I mean, that's, I think, what we all want to be when we're older. But
yeah.
what do you, I mean, obviously, you're still in your career. You're probably coming to the later years of your career now. Your placings have, for the last couple of years, like you looked fantastic at last year's Arnold Classic. And I think people forget how good you looked. And at the Boston Pro as well, you looked absolutely incredible. And that's
Thank you.
really somewhere up near your best, if not your best. But people are saying, oh, his placings are going down. I'm like, well, not really. You look at that show and it's still there. So how do you feel now about your career and where your physique's headed? So do you think going into 2024, because I've heard you say that you'll take off until 2024, do you feel like you can still bring a package that can win an Arnold Classic or contend and then maybe push at the Olympia?
I think for sure to win the Arnold Classic, the possibility is there, still there. To win the Olympia, I don't know where the judges are going, with the kind of physique that they want for there, But I think like if I give it my all, like the next 2 years, that I might have the possibility, and to win the Olympia. Right now it's just taking time off, let my body because when you kind of competing, your body adjusts to the system, you understand, and to your supplementation and your diet, so it won't react as it normally would be. So like your receptors, everything will be sensitive, so I need to get rid of that. So once I have that, and that's what I'm doing now, so I would need a whole year off. Once I have that, then I can come back again and everything will feel fresh, my body will feel fresh, and then because that's what I did in 2022 as well with the Arnold Classic. Yeah,
Yeah. Do you
after
feel so?
the racing of the Olympia. Sorry.
So essentially, you're sort of like detoxing now to give your body a rest, get the receptors
Yes,
fresh, and then been able to go into that 2024 being,
yes,
fresh
yes,
and.
yes, exactly. Yeah.
Do you think Big Ramy is obviously a guy that competed at the Arnold Classic, the same contest as you only weeks ago now? What did you think of Big Ramy at that contest? Do you think that he got the placing he sort of deserved, and do you think maybe that he needs that rest as well because he's planning, by the sounds of it, going to go into that Mr. Olympia this year?
Yeah, like if I, to be honest with you, if I did qualify for Olympia, I probably would have gone to the Olympia as well.
Yeah.
So for him to go, this is a good thing to go. I wouldn't like be demotivated because of his placings, that he didn't maybe expect it at the Olympia and at the Arnold's. And it's a you know it's tough, to be from Mr. Olympia. You understand?
Mm.
2 times Mr. Olympia, losing your title, and all just in 6 months' time, losing your title, and then placing even fifth, and then going to the Arnold's, and not even placing in the top three. Yeah, it's kind of tough to be, the king, and then not
Yeah.
even. So what I think about his placing, I thought he looked better at um, at the Arnold's. And I think at Olympia, he didn't look that bad. We all looked. You understand? We didn't all look perfect. None of us, except maybe 3 guys, and those 3 guys were in the top three. Simple
Yeah.
as that. So yeah, I think that Big Ramy should maybe like have a rest for this time now, and then start his prep for Olympia, and then maybe after Olympia take a rest, and then go for it again, because we are not as young as those guys anymore. We are not in our 20s, or early 30s. See, before we used to compete. I know the time that we used to compete like 6 times in a year. That I even competed 9 times in a year. But
Yeah. Wow.
nobody talk about that anymore. Now when people compete 3 times in a year, they think it's a, they have hit the world record. So, yeah. So, but before it was normal before, because the how you say, the federation was bigger. That
Yeah.
time, we had the amateur side, and so every time we had like the Olympia, we had another show in Prague, we had another show in maybe Kuwait, we had another show in Spain, so we were just going from one place to another place, and yeah, we had one show in San Marino, so that was fun
Yeah.
those times. So we did a lot of shows back then, but we can't do that no more. We can do it, but with a risk, and we are old enough to know, when to slow down and when to, put your feet on the gas. So, and then this time, our feet is on the brake. Understand? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. For now, at least, anyway. But
Yeah.
how did you feel about your placings at the Olympia and also at the Arnold Classic? Because you've got one of those physiques where it's like
Oh,
if you nail it, you're
yeah.
like so amazing, and then if you miss it by a little bit, you seem to get penalized a lot.
It
So
was.
how did you
It
feel
was.
about it?
It's the right decision. Like when I look back at the pictures, I was like, I look shit. So yeah, I was. You can even say like, hey, be happy with your place and what you got. It could have been worse. So I look shit. And the Arnold, I look better. If I deserve my places, yeah. If they say the judges put me there, they put me there for a reason. So I'm not a guy that complains about his places. Of course, in the past, I had some issues like, oh, why? How could this guy beat me? You understand? But I've grown through it now. I understand the game. You understand? And so I don't complain when I win. You understand? I'm happy
Mm.
when I win. So why should I complain when I lose some? So that's how I guess it's a big pie. Everybody can have some of it.
But man, it's credit to you that you actually do take, like a placing that maybe you felt like you maybe should have placed higher or whatever. You take it on the chin and you go, "Oh, okay, well, I didn't look my best, so I need to get better." It's like that is
You
very
got
rare these days.
No, but you got to be realistic with yourself. I can fool myself, and of course, your coach will tell you like, "No, you look good." You was in condition. It will always make you feel, give you that feeling. But to me, I know what I saw, and I wasn't like, And people will tell me, "Yeah, you should place higher." And I'm like, mm-mm. I'm lucky that I got that place. Believe me, because it's not the physique that I wanted represented at the Olympia, because I saw the way that I look heading to the show, and the way that I look at the show day. So it was a big difference. So I know, like, hey, I'm lucky with my placing, so I'm not complaining at all. And even if it wasn't so, I still wouldn't complain.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is what it is. We just go back home and then start all over again, man. Yeah.
Now, I wanted to get to a bit of like William Bonac outside of the bodybuilding stage and outside of the bodybuilding scene, because I know you're a family man. You're a guy that's really committed in that way. And I think that you're, I suppose, grounded in the way that you see life after bodybuilding. You're not a guy that's, get huge or die trying. You're a guy that's like
Yeah.
looking at the other side of bodybuilding, which is really cool. So what do you get up to when, when you're in a period like this, when you're putting the brakes on, when you might have a little bit more time maybe to do stuff with family or do whatever? So what do you get up to outside of bodybuilding?
Let's see, like, in the beginning, always the first few weeks, you feel like after the show, mostly you feel like, especially now, like getting older, and I think like I got maybe like 4 years left, maybe 3 to 4 years if I'm lucky. So I feel like, man, what do I have to do now? So I'm doing more things outside bodybuilding now. Like I love bodybuilding. I always want to be in the bodybuilding scene, and that's why I've also put the show, the William Bonac Classic, since 2018 with my partner Leona Bergman. So and that's going well, and we have big news.
Where's that one held? Where's that held?
This one is in Hoofddorp. It used to be in Amsterdam, but it was so expensive the first 2 years, so we moved to Hoofddorp. Hoofddorp is actually Schiphol, Amsterdam. So it's like
Ah,
this is where I live as well. It's like a small, not small village. It used to be a small village. Now it's bigger now, like a village around Amsterdam. So we
oh,
are at
cool.
the middle of the airport, with all the planes, getting up and down. Yeah. So it's now in Hoofddorp, and next year, it's still a surprise actually, but I will give you a heads up. Next year, God willing, we will have a bigger one in Amsterdam. So in
Oh, nice.
Amsterdam, yeah, yeah.
Awesome,
So
man.
I can't say too much about that, so I won't.
That's cool, man. And that's definitely a
So
destination spot. I mean, everyone talks about, around the world going to Amsterdam because everyone knows
yeah,
what it's like in Amsterdam. Things are
yeah,
legal, but aren't legal, around the rest of the
yeah, yeah,
world.
yeah.
So,
True,
so,
true.
so, so people love it. Everyone wants to go to the cafes and stuff.
Gonna be in the center of Amsterdam, like in the
Oh,
center, and the most expensive, man. But you're gonna hear about it, on my channel and on my Instagram as soon as I'm allowed to announce it.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
once
just that's a big amateur contest, is it?
no, this yes, it's an amateur contest, but it's different. It's not only bodybuilding. It will be bodybuilding. We will have powerlifting, CrossFit, and like a small trade center.
Oh.
Like we will have a lot of equipment companies, you name them. So yeah,
Is this going to be like one of the biggest or the biggest sort of things in terms of like obviously they've got fitness expos and things like that, I'm guessing, but in terms of like bodybuilding, in terms of amateur bodybuilding and all that sort of stuff, is this going to be sort of one of the biggest things like that over there?
it will be
Oh,
because
awesome.
it's not here yet, but it will be. Yeah,
Awesome.
so this is all planning for 2024
I love it,
summertime.
man.
Yeah,
Love it.
so I
Awesome.
love bodybuilding. So that's one of the things that I'm doing, and also um, my gym in Ghana as well, pushing it as well. Also starting in Dubai, we will start something soon there as well. And as you know, I'm working with Panata,
Mm,
so
yeah.
yeah, so I only work out in gyms that's equipped with Panata equipment.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, so great things ahead. And now I feel like I have more time to prepare for all these stuff, to focus more. My mind is cleared. I have also more time for my family and my kids because right now I can enjoy them more. I could enjoy them even in my prep, but now I can enjoy them way much more and I can be more active with them as well. You understand? And I can see the way they are coming more to me. Before they were like, okay, they see that, they help me, and they leave me alone, and I'm in my office. You understand?
Mm.
And now, they come. They want to play, they pull me because they know now. Okay, he's cool now. I'm not a zombie anymore. So, and I can see, they are. My son, he's like every time he's searching for me. You understand? He's searching for me to play, and I just like that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. And that's the cool thing as well because kids pick up on your vibe. Even if you're not
So,
saying anything bad or anything like that. If you
it's,
walk in the door and like, hey, compared to if you walk in the door like I'm wrecked,
bro,
they're gonna sense that, and if you're happy, they're gonna come to you, and want that attention. So,
I had an argument with my fiance, with their mother, and my daughter heard me, and they were playing in the living room, and she heard like it was going back and forth, and she heard like I was raising my voice, You know what she did? She came up to me, and then she had like a heart from Valentine's Day, what when we gave each other, and she said, "No, Daddy, look what I got for you." And then she gave me the heart. So at first I was like, I'll be, wait, I'm talking to your mother. And then I look at the heart, and she was forcing it to me. Then I
Oh
look at her,
man.
I look at my fiance. I'm like, did you see what she just did? And then she, nod her head like, yeah. So these kids, they can sentence stuff. You understand? And
Mm.
yeah, it's really,
It's amazing. Like I've had something somewhat similar happen in the past, and it's like it almost completely shocks you and stops you and
yeah,
gets you out of an argument, and
exactly. Yeah,
it's incredible, man. And it makes you realize, I suppose, what's important. And then you go, okay, well, for the
yeah,
future, I don't want them to hear that, or
yeah,
I don't
true,
want that to affect
yeah,
them, or
true,
you know.
true.
So
Yeah.
that's cool, man. That's really really cool. But I suppose where you live now, you said you live just sort of outside of Amsterdam.
Yeah, it's actually it's the Hoofddorp. It's like I'm like 15 minutes away, 10 minutes from the airport, 15 to 20 minutes away from Amsterdam. So yeah, close. Yeah, really close.
Now I've never been to Amsterdam, so do you have a lot of people from other countries come and visit Amsterdam
Yeah.
and come see you?
Okay. Once they hear, the ones that I know, they will contact me, and if I'm around, I will meet them. But if I don't know you, I don't really.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, totally understand. But like in terms of like people like, do you have friends from the US or anything like that that come in or?
Yeah, okay, like for Roelly instance, he come here often because his kids still living here.
Oh yeah.
If he comes here, and I know that we'll meet up, have a workout, or he will come and visit me, have a talk. Yeah, there's some of the guys, they have a transit, but they never get out
Yeah.
at the airport. So yeah,
Yeah, for sure. It seems like a cool place anyway.
it
But
is.
William, I want to ask you a few quick fire questions in terms
Yeah,
of what you think of certain contests and what you think of, I suppose, certain bodybuilders and things like that. So I just want to ask you quick fire questions. Which
yeah.
lineup do you think was better in terms of the top 10? Was the 2022 Mr. Olympia or the 2021 Mr. Olympia better?
The 2021 was with Phil Heath and the
Yep,
comeback of Phil Heath, right?
that's correct. Yeah.
2021.
2021. I reckon maybe controversial, but yeah, I like it. All right, next question. Who do you think will place higher if they both do the Olympia this year? Blessing, Waterbury, or Charles Griffin?
So Blessed or Charles Griffin, you mentioned.
Yeah,
Both of these guys are close, and
they're
doing
very
good.
close.
They match each other, and yeah, it's just a day. I will go for both of them, man.
Both,
I don't want,
yeah,
I don't want any trouble with anybody getting over me.
yeah. Fair enough. And a quick, your thoughts on the 2022 Arnold Classic in terms of how the contest was run, the production, and all that sort of stuff, because it seemed to take a step up this year, and obviously prize money as well.
Oh, 2020, sorry again.
Sorry, 2023 Arnold Classic.
Oh, okay. Um, yeah, it was, I talked to them, because they contact me to do the show and they had nobody. And I told them, like, listen, maybe it would be smart if you raise up the money,
Oh, you gave him that idea.
Yeah, I told them, and I swear to you, less than a month, I hear the price went up, but only for the first place, So it's a
Yeah,
good thing, but they should have done differently. I think they should have spread it a little bit more,
yeah,
because now, even though you have that, because there was more to engage with the top guys,
mm,
understand? But if you put it like you spread it, you will have more athletes on the stage. I don't know if that's what they wanted, but I would have
yeah.
spread it. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand why they did it because they wanted to grab that attention, but I
Yeah.
also understand your point 100% as
Yeah.
well. And
And,
William,
and not to me, it's a good organization. Everything is run well, with the Arnold, you know what to expect. I swear to God, you get out from the taxi, people will stand there and point you where you have to go.
yeah,
You
they're
can't get
very,
lost there. If you get late at the press conference, it's your fault. Yes, it's your fault. Seriously, everything is organized perfectly, for the athletes, for the audience, for everybody,
mm.
so props for them.
Yeah, and that's what has obviously athletes like you mentioning this and speaking positively about the Arnold. So the Mr. Olympia this year was a little bit. There's a little bit of
Yeah,
controversy in terms of the backstage and things like that, and
yeah,
everyone's
I
spoken
think,
about that.
yeah, I think they're gonna try and make that up for this year for last year. I think they
Mm.
realize that now, and I think they're gonna make it up for last year, definitely.
For sure. I think if they didn't this year, then there'd be probably a few more complaints.
I
That's for
think
sure.
so. Probably they won't see anybody coming for the year after.
Yeah, exactly. But with the Mr. Olympia this year coming up, now the last 2 years, I'd say there's been things with the background of Mr. Olympia where it's been sort of the background has sort of for me there's been too many lights, or they've had the bronze statue behind the bodybuilder where there's not much contrast between the physique and the background. Is that something you'd like to see changed at the Mr. Olympia so you can see the physiques a bit more clearly and better?
um, to us, like honestly, because we are on stage, so my attention is not on the lightning, on the I can't even see that. You understand? So once we're on stage, my attention is more on my physique. How do I look like? Do I got enough oil, or do I need more oil, and that kind of stuff. So my attention is really not on the light. That comes after the show, after a week or so when you're home and you are seeing on YouTube or online, you are seeing all those videos coming out, and then you can have like, oh, the light should have been, a little bit, less, or could have been a little bit more for this side. But with those shows, it's always different because you got some places, maybe the guy that's standing in the left side in the corner has less light than the other guy standing at the opposite. And then the guy in the middle has the best light. Understand? So, and that's why they probably switch all the time.
Yeah.
So the lightning, that's I don't think that's something that they really can do big thing about it, because it's like, it's different from different angles. So if
Yeah,
they
for sure.
could, it would be perfect, but I don't think they have to promote the sponsors as well. People forget. So
Yeah.
people forget like, hey, you should take everything out, you should make it all black or all white, and then you can. No, it doesn't work that way. There are sponsors who promoting the show, and they need to be seen as well, and promoters. So they need the sponsors, to promote the show.
Yeah, and you're obviously a promoter now yourself as well, so you
Yeah,
understand
yeah,
that side of it as well
definitely.
as a competitor and as a promoter. So
Yeah.
that's really really cool. But William, who do you have coming up on your podcast next? Do you have any interviews lined up or recorded, ready to go up?
Yeah, I'm gunning for Samson Dauda, of course. So
Ah, nice.
yeah, I supposed to have today is Wednesday, yesterday, and then we meet up for today, but today he couldn't, so we postponed it to tomorrow. Tomorrow,
Yep,
Thursday, right? Yes.
yep,
So
yep.
I will have Samson tomorrow, Thursday, and then I will look for my next victim.
And man, the one thing I'll say about your podcast, which I love as well, and it seems like you warm up, and then as soon as you're into that interview, a couple minutes in, that's when it starts to get really really good. And I think it's because guys feel comfortable with you because obviously they trust you, so they're a bit more open in terms of their answers. Like
Yeah,
Andrew Jack was revealing things that I featured it in a video. I
yeah.
clipped it and put it on mine today and said go check out the full podcast, where it was Andrew Jack talking about that he's actually banned from the IFBB Elite for using
Yeah,
PEDs, which I found
yeah,
hilarious. Like, so I definitely want to try to get even more of that backstory on that. Whether I don't know if it was drug tested or what it was, but
yeah.
it seems pretty crazy. But you got those stories out, man, and that's a story that hasn't been heard before by anyone. So I was like, that's really cool that you've got these guys
And
that feel comfortable and they open up.
bro, if you like took your time and you research, you would have found out that he already spoke about this one time already.
Really,
That's what I told you about Leo. Leo made these questions, that
for
time.
real.
He made those questions for me. So he did the
Wow.
research. So he knew even which tribe he was from. Yes, I'm telling you, bro.
Oh, because you mentioned about the tribes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's cool. Man, Leo does more research than me. That's for sure.
yeah,
I do a little bit, but yeah,
yeah.
he does an
I know
absolute
it
ton.
becomes too much time, man. Your family,
Mm.
kids. You can't sit the whole day on YouTube researching. He will like the way he tells you, like when you get his message, like fast forward it. You understand? That's the
Mm.
way he does his research.
Mm.
Yeah.
He does it on hyperdrive, basically.
Yeah, probably.
Because he's into obviously all the cognitive function supplements and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
So he would
yeah,
definitely go into full study mode and go hardcore. And that's how he obviously digested so much information and obviously put so much out there as well. So man, I cannot wait to listen to those future podcasts because they're going to be awesome. And yeah, it's going to be really cool to be able to follow that along. So make sure you head over to William Bonac's channel. The link is going to be in the description below as well. And William, I'll give you a chance as well to actually, I want to ask you one more question before we wrap it up. Because you're a guy that's sort of gone back and forth in terms of placings with a few different dudes over your career. Do you have anyone who was your biggest rival during your career?
Dexter was giving me a tough time. He was giving me a tough time, you know. I was like, when is this old man gonna retire so he can move, so we can get some space, you know? And it was, I think, like even in 2017, 2016, and then 2017, you know, I started beating him a couple times, you know, and then Dexter was for me, like Dexter and then Brandon. And there was Brandon. He was all the time, you know, he fucked, like I could have won the Arnold 4 times by now, you know. But Brandon made sure that I wouldn't be enforced. So yeah.
Because he's beaten you in 2 that were actually very close. The year he won the Olympia, and then obviously last year as well, where last year many people had you winning. And then the other year I was like, it's so close. I remember actually watching that video of you and Brandon going head to head. And that was, do you think that was your all-time best or close to it?
Close to it. Bro, I was, to be honest with you, you can even ask Brandon and many people who were backstage, they can confirm it. We were like the first call out, me and Brandon battling out. And then they say Brandon and Bonac, you know, out of the line. So we went out of the line backstage, like not even backstage, like behind the curtains. I was still on stage, so on the top. And they had like a bin downstairs. And I was like hanging over and I threw up. I was throwing, bro, I was throwing up for 5 to almost 5 minutes to almost 10 minutes. So I was throwing up until they did all the comparison with the second call out, third call out, you know, and then I think somebody even came with I don't know, blanket or something, you know, to help me dip my face because my face was, I kept throwing up, you know, and then even George Father came by. He said, "Are you okay?" I said, "I'm good," you know, and then we had to go back. So I didn't even went downstairs. I was like, Brenda was looking at me and he was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm good, bro." And in my head, I was thinking, brother, never will I give you this for free. You will have to die for it away from me. You know, so that was my thoughts at that time. So then they called us back, and then we went back. And while we were posting, I was challenging him all the time. Like, "Come on, bro. Are you tired now? Come on, let's go. Let's give them a show." You know, so I was constantly talking to him all the time, you know, hyping myself up. Yeah, that was crazy, man. I felt so bad that day, like miserable. But I was like, nah, man, this could happen every other day, but not today. You know, I'm gonna give this guy hell. So, but
man, you did that. That was a contest, man. I absolutely love that battle, and that's one that will go down in history, I think, as well. And I'll put it up on the screen so people can see that as well while we're talking about it later on in post production. But I actually want to ask you one more question as well. Now you mentioned, I think we've got 2 more minutes left. But you mentioned, I remember it was on another podcast. It might have been on the Menace podcast. I can't quite remember who it was with. But you mentioned a crazy story about how from your past where I don't know if you said you were shot or what actually happened there.
I got shot when I was 14 years old.
That's crazy, man. Like, did you have a lot of crazy stories from your past like that? Or?
This is one of the fun part. Even I have more crazy stories, but I will write a book about that, you know, once I finish my bodybuilding career. So But from all the stuff that we did, you know, everybody is punished for it, you know. So I understand I can't snitch anybody with it, you know. So yeah,
man. And obviously you've had your challenges in life, and it seems like a lot of people that do go through those challenges and make it through those challenges, they end up being successes. And man, you're a perfect example of that. And I love the way it seems like from the outside looking in, it seems like you've matured over your career and become like a really solid family man and a guy that has great perspective, a great friend to people like Roelly that you could see in that interview. You could see when he was talking about retirement, you said, "Oh man, you're retired now. Like, take your health serious and all that sort of
No,
stuff."
I mean it. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And that's really cool, man. So I love to see it, and I love to see the person you've become, and I can't wait to follow all the rest of the episodes of your podcast as well. So, do you have any sponsors you want to shout out before we wrap this thing up?
Right now, I want to do a shout out to Panata, who has stick by me, through thick and thin, COVID time. They were there for me. They helped me out. I could build my home gym, and I'm be supported them since COVID time as well. And we are growing they are growing to a big company now. And so I want to say, Panata, thank you for supporting me always with your equipment, the time that I needed it most. And yes, I want to thank also my team, of course, my training partner, candidate, for training with me for the past, I think, 15 years. So thank you for that, brother. Appreciate you. And of course, Leo, for helping me out with everything. And rest in peace, brother. Miss you. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great, man. So thank you so much for once again for coming on Desktop Bodybuilding for another episode of One on One. That's for Conqueror, William Bonac, and for myself, Xavier Wills, and Desktop Bodybuilding. We are out. Hope you guys enjoyed this one-on-one interview, and if you did, make sure you give the video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of all future one-on-one interviews that go up here on Desktop Bodybuilding. Also, we've got Bodybuilding University, which is our podcast, which features guys like Brett Wilkin, Martin Fitzwater, Nathan Diasha, Stanimal, Stan DeLonge, and then we've had guests like Urs Kalaczynski, Nick Walker, and a whole bunch of other big names as well. So make sure you check that out. And if you do subscribe as well, you'll be getting the daily bodybuilding news live. So definitely subscribe and hit that notification bell button and join all the content that's coming in 2023 from myself, Xavier Wills, here at Desktop Bodybuilding. But anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Desktop Bodybuilding. I'm Xavier Wills. We are out.